So, you know the story of Jonah and the whale, right? Guy gets swallowed, spends 3 days in fish guts, gets barfed out, preaches to Nineveh, everyone repents, happily ever after? Wrong. Dead wrong. Here's what Sunday school conveniently left out. After the whole city turned to God and avoided destruction, Jonah didn't throw a party, he threw a tantrum, like a full-blown sit under a tree and pout meltdown.
You freaking freaks! When will you learn?
Why? Because God showed mercy. Let that sink in. The prophet who just witnessed the greatest revival in biblical history was absolutely furious that it worked. This isn't just ironic, it's psychologically unhinged, and it's about to get real uncomfortable real fast. Let's talk about why Jonah was this pressed. Nineveh wasn't just any city. These were the Assyrians, the absolute worst people you could imagine. We're talking about a civilization so brutal they made their war crimes an art form. They impaled enemies on stakes, skinned people alive, and decorated their palaces with pyramids of severed heads. And Jonah? He was an Israelite. His people lived in constant terror of Assyrian invasion. So when God said, "Go preach to them," Jonah said, "Absolutely not," and literally ran in the opposite direction. Can you blame him? He didn't want mercy for monsters. He wanted justice. He wanted fire and brimstone. He wanted vindication. But God had other plans. Here's where it gets spicy. After Nineveh repents, Jonah chapter 4 verse 1 says this, "But to Jonah this seemed very wrong, and he became angry." Not disappointed, not confused, angry at God for being merciful. He literally prays, "I knew you were going to do this. That's why I ran away. I knew you'd be gracious and compassionate and slow to anger, and I didn't want that."
I knew it! I knew it!
Imagine being so committed to your grudge that God's fundamental nature offends you. Jonah wanted God to be like him, unforgiving, petty, tribalistic. He'd rather die than watch his enemies receive grace. And honestly, that's the most human thing in the entire Bible. We've all been there. Mad that someone we disliked got a break, resentful when mercy was extended to people we deemed unworthy. Now, here's the gut punch ending most people miss. God doesn't rebuke Jonah, he teaches him with a plant. He makes a vine grow to give Jonah shade, then kills it the next day. Jonah gets angry again over a plant, and God says, "You're concerned about this vine you didn't plant or tend, but shouldn't I care about 120,000 people who don't know their right hand from their left?" Translation, you're more upset about your comfort than the eternal fate of an entire civilization. Brutal. See, Jonah's problem wasn't theology, it was empathy. He couldn't see the Ninevites as people, only as enemies. He chose justice over mercy because he saw himself as the victim, not realizing he'd become the villain. The book ends with God's question hanging in the air, unanswered, because that question isn't for Jonah, it's for us. So what's the lesson everyone misses? It's not that Jonah was wrong to want justice, it's that he confused justice with revenge. He wanted punishment more than he wanted restoration. He wanted to be right more than he wanted people to be saved. Sound familiar? We do this constantly. We hold grudges, we gatekeep forgiveness, we write people off as irredeemable and get angry when grace reaches them anyway. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If you're more invested in someone's downfall than their redemption, you might be the one who needs saving. Jonah's story isn't about a fish, it's about a prophet who survived the ocean but almost drowned in his own bitterness. It's a mirror held up to our own resentment, asking, do you want justice or do you just want to be justified? Because mercy isn't weakness, it's the most powerful force in the universe. And sometimes it starts with admitting we're more like Jonah than we'd ever want to believe.